everybody, welcome back to my channel for another flea market finds video, and this is going to be a video featuring items I picked back on April 9th of 2023. This would have been the outdoor flea market, and this would have been the first day that it was open for 2023. And pickings weren't that great regarding Machinist tools. All of this is going to be Machinist tools with the exception of one item, which I will get to in a moment. But let's start with one of the first buys I made of the day was from a dealer who brings a lot. He almost brings all, I think he brings all tools, and he does have a lot of Machinist items. Oftentimes he doesn't bring a lot of the better stuff because he tends to find that he has these other shows he goes to and gets more money. But I was able to put together a package deal and get these two genuine Starrett tap wrenches. And these are both 93Cs, in case you were wondering. This really neat little Brown and Sharp tap handle. And this set of Starrett 117 center punches in excellent condition. As a matter of fact, I would venture to guess, I don't remember if I looked at these or not on the beating end, but these might be unused. So that's a nice little set there. So I was able to put together these four items for $60. So I'm into each one of these for $15 a piece. This little guy here, I haven't decided yet. I might keep this guy. You know, if this little guy was the Starrett version of this, the 93 or whatever the heck, I don't remember. I know the 93 series goes down to a certain size, and then I think there's a really small one like this that they changed the number for in Starrett. So this is a Brown and Sharp M1 to M6, so that's the metric, and then 0 to 1/4 inch. And then it says it's made in England. So in English, Brown and Sharp tap wrench. This metal case, I'm not sure if this is the original case for this. I have no reason not to believe that it is. And what's in here is a nice square, good sized, and this is marked Universal Pin Company, Brooklyn, New York, USA. It's got a number that's kind of smeared, I can't quite make it out, and then it says hardened steel square. So this is exactly how I got it with this case. And so I don't know if somebody just really loved this thing and made this insert and found this metal case that fits it, or what the deal is. You know, because it's not a Starrett or, you know, another notable name brand, I knew I wouldn't be able to get too much for this. And I think it's just large enough that it's not going to fit in a medium flat rate box. So that creates a shipping issue for me. So it took me a while. I had to go back to this dealer more than once to see if it was still there, because in the morning when I first saw it, he wanted too much for it. I think we started out at 45 or 55, and I ended up finally being able to get this off of him for 25, and I don't think I'm going to make much profit on this, but you never know. Next up, I scored this pair of these long-handled tap handles. Long-handled tap wrenches, right? So they're unusual because of the extra long handles. They are completely unmarked. I haven't found any markings on them to indicate who makes them. So I don't know if these are imports or what. But I paid $10 a piece for these. A little pricey for something that isn't necessarily a U.S. maker. But the unusual thing about them is the extra long, the fact that they're extra long. I'm not buying these little clamp-on bench vices that much these days unless I really get a deal on them, like this one I got for $5. I couldn't pass it up. I like the design. It's got this neat little lock on the side here that allows this to swivel. It's in excellent shape, not all beat up. It's got the little anvil on the back even. You know, I can get this in a medium flat rate box, ship it fairly economically. Lots of times when you find this style here that has this cast clamp, this clamp will be missing. Often, I think the reason why so many of these go missing is because I think they get broken. So if this casting gets broken, the tendency is to just take it off altogether or break it off cleanly and then just use these little ears right here and still try and mount it in some usable way. But for $5, that was a good deal. I had a dealer who had several items clearly marked with his asking prices, and interestingly enough, I was able to, let's see, he had 15 on this J.H. Williams clamp. He had 25 on this early Starrett surface gauge base. He had 15 on this Pratt & Whitney threading tool for a lathe. And 15 on this Bell center punch. And I was able to get all 4 of these items for $40. So I'm into each one of these for $10. I like these J.H. Williams clamps. They get a neat look to them. I've got a few of these now. So I'll probably end up keeping that, adding to my store of clamps. And this is kind of a really specialized item. Unfortunately, you know, this is all he had was this base. But it is definitely a Starrett. So Brown and Sharp had their own version of this. The Bell center punch is completely unmarked. It's probably a homemade deal. This is the one item that I did not plan on buying initially. Non-machinist item. It's a bicycle rack. It's a cast aluminum bike rack. Normally I don't deal in vintage bicycle parts, but this one caught my eye because it's clearly marked that it's made in Switzerland. Usually that stuff's pretty good quality, and this one's marked, I think, Pletcher or something like that. So I figured I'd take a chance on it because I got this for $5, which I thought was a pretty good deal. In retrospect, I probably would have passed on it. I think they're only worth about 15 or 20 on eBay, and you go through the trouble of boxing it up and shipping it. Not really that great of a deal. And the last was, went to a dealer and put together a little package here and got these 3 items for $10 for all 3. This is just a simple bevel square. This one says, excellent warranted quality, Japan. And it clearly says bevel on one side, in case you were wondering what kind of square it was. But I got a kick out of the excellent warranted quality on the other side here. So, and then one of these little 0.5 inch, almost like novelty micrometers. I mean, you can actually use it, but you're not going to get a heck of a lot of accuracy out of these. And most of these, with the exception of I think the Starrett, were more given away as like promos. A lot of these are marked with the manufacturer of the product that was giving them away, not the actual manufacturer of the thing itself. So like this one is only marked B-A. Kind of weird. May never know who made that one. And then there was this piece here, which, you know, I probably would have left this behind, except that this guy was very cheap on his prices. You can see I got, you know, all of that stuff for $10 for the lot. And this is a Yankee, old Yankee, I think was one of the names these were marketed under. I think it is a Stanley. Yeah, this is a Stanley Yankee number 41Y, made in the USA. So this is an automatic screwdriver. Basically, there's a scroll-shaped rod inside here, so that when you push this down, it's actually rotating. Now, I've seen a lot of these that whole mechanism is completely visible. Like a lot of the Miller's Falls ones, I think, are like that. This one's kind of neat. I like it because this is all in case you can't see. Can't see the devil in the details on this one. It's got a ball detent type mechanism here. So you pull this forward, the ball's able to go up into a groove that lets you insert the tool, the tip, and then when you take that out, it pops into a groove. And then on the back side here, what we have is Yeah, so the majority of these that I've come across have had wooden handles on them. And they've had this part with the spiral mechanism exposed. And apparently the original company was, I think the original company was Northwood or something like that. I don't remember exactly. And then Stanley ended up taking them over. They made that version for a long time. And then I guess they morphed into this version. And then when they discontinued this type of screwdriver altogether because of the advent of and popularity of power tools, a company called Garrett Wade apparently took over production of this particular model here. So the Garrett Wade website, or actually some website that I found a discussion about Garrett Wade screwdrivers on, is where I found the information on how to access the bits in this model. So I was trying to push on these pins and wondering why they didn't push. It's because they don't push at all. The way that you actually access this one apparently is this right here. This knurled area is a collar, and we unscrew it, and that releases this and allows this to slide down, and there are our bits. So unlike having regular screwdriver bits in the handle like a lot of these Stanleys did, this has these unusual drill bits. They've got these two flutes down the sides here, and they've got a chisel point on them that is sharpened in a way so that they cut in either direction of rotation. And that's to accommodate the fact that, you know, when you push down, it turns in one direction, and when you come back up, it turns in the other direction. Well, by having that work that way, we are able to actually get this thing to be fairly efficient at drilling holes. So let me just lock this back, and let me find a hunk of wood. So I want to drill a hole in my table. So it actually works surprisingly well. So I don't know, if you're a survivalist, maybe this is what you need in your toolkit there. A way to be able to drill holes without any electricity whatsoever. Pretty cool. The Garrett, whatever company I just mentioned there, apparently if they are still in business selling these, they sell them for like $70, so they're not cheap. And the person who reviewed it mentioned that, you know, they're okay, but that the original Stanley ones were, they seem to be better fit. For instance, where this locks in, this actually barely rotates at all when it's locked in. And I guess the one he had, he noticed there was a little bit more slop, which causes it to click when it's changing direction. All right, so there we go. All right, since this was such a short video, I guess I'll tack on some bonus picks. So get ready for those as soon as I figure out how to get these bits back in. Hey guys, this video is kind of short so far, so I'm going to add in these 3 items here that I picked from a antique dealer. It's funny how sometimes these opportunities present themselves in the least likely of places. This is somebody who doesn't normally deal in machinist tools, but he does like vintage industrial stuff. So he ends up with stuff from machine shops, and I ended up actually being allowed to look around his warehouse, and I spotted this nice Troika rotary table. I don't know if it's Troik or Troika. I never knew how to pronounce this name, Troyke. But this is a U.S. manufacturer. And I actually have a larger version of one of these that I keep for my shop. This is a nice small one. I toyed with the idea of keeping this one, but I've already got an offer that I've accepted to sell this one, so I'm just waiting for it to be picked up. But this is a model R9, so it's the R series of manual tables. And it's very dirty, but it's actually in very good condition. It had, when I got it, it had about 15 minutes of free play in the of Backlash, And I actually just completed another video that you'll be able to see where I show how there's an adjustment you can make on here to take up the wear. And I've done that adjustment, and now this is down to about 1.5 minutes of free play or backlash, which the label on the side here actually informs you that you should get it down to 1 to 2 minutes of backlash. So I'm right where it should be. And it really operates nice and smoothly. I oiled it again, but it seemed like it's been well oiled throughout its use. The one drawback to it, if you consider it a drawback, would be that it's not a horizontal vertical model. It's strictly a horizontal model. And it is only a 9-inch, but that's actually kind of nice. That makes this kind of easy to deal with. As a matter of fact, the gentleman who's buying this from me, he currently has like a 15-inch or 12 or 15-inch Bridgeport rotary table, and one of the reasons why he wants to buy this one is because oftentimes he finds that it's just too difficult for him to move that table. And I can kind of relate to that, because the Troika that I've got that I'm keeping for myself is also like a 12-inch table, and it's significantly heavier than this. So there was this item here and 2 other items that I pulled together, and I ended up, I think, giving $100 for the 3. So I figured I was into this table for $50 and $25 each on the other 2 items, which I'll show you now. Next up is this nice little drill press vise. I had quite a few of these, and I recently sold off several of the smallest ones. The reason why I decided to take this one, well, you know, it was a deal for $25, but also it's a 3-inch, so it's a little bit bigger than some of the other ones I've had. It's a genuine Palmgren, clearly marked right here. And although it's not a tilting vise or anything like that, what I did like about it is that it has these channels on the side here, which allowed you to use toe clamps to clamp this down. So I thought that was kind of nice. It's got a, not quite sure what the deal is with this set screw right here. What the purpose of that would be. I mean, I guess you can pull the, well, I don't know. So I don't remember seeing one with a screw on the top like this. But I mean, for $25, that's a handy little vise. And the last of these 3 items is this vise that initially I didn't think too much of. But I'll tell you what, this thing has really grown on me, so much so that I've decided I'm going to keep it for myself. This is a little quick release milling vise. So the way this works is you've got kind of a coarse adjustment here, and then there is a cam mechanism inside here that allows you to lock the vise down with this handle. So I take this block, I stick this in here, and I get close with it. Once I get close, I can just, if this was bolted down, I just tap on this handle, and it actually holds quite well. And I couldn't find any markings on it anywhere to indicate who manufactures it. So I assume that it's just a cheap import. But then I did finally do some digging around, and I was able to find one that looked just like this, and I believe it was a Wilton. Now, everybody knows the Wilton, or most people know of Wilton as the manufacturers of the famous Wilton Bullet series of vices, which are highly sought after by collectors and craftsmen alike. Really well made vices. Many people believe they are now exorbitantly overpriced for what they are. I'm not going to get into that debate. All I want to say is that Wilton is no longer considered, in my opinion, and probably a lot of other people's opinion, to be the quality of vice that it used to be. I've got some other Wilton stuff around here that's much more modern, and it's clearly it's foreign castings and not the kind of durability. But this little guy, if it's a Wilton, it actually seems pretty decent. So it's got a few features other than the quick release here that I kind of like. Namely, it's got this multi-use jaw right here. So what we've got With the jaw in the position that it's in now, we've got 3 different sized V-grooves available to us to mount things vertically. So if you got something round, even large like that, no problem mounting it in this vise. But then also, we can take out the cap screws and we can rotate this 90 degrees, and that gives us a V-groove horizontally, like a more traditional V-groove that you see in jaws of a vise. And then on the back side, if we flip it over so the back is facing out, facing the work, we've got a very small V-groove for very small parts. So one little bit of damage here and here, and a little bit of grinds on here, but otherwise pretty much decent shape. But the thing that sold me on this was I was doing a project over there on the mill, and I had the milling machine, I had the Kurt vise off of the milling machine because of the last time I was using it. I was doing something else when I was working on those loader forks that I made, and I needed the vise. And rather than grab that heavy Kurt vise and wrestle it up there on the table, I happened to see this sitting there, and I was like, oh, you know, that's got the ability to be clamped down to the T-slots. So I threw this up there, loved it. Look at it, you know, picked this up, no problem, easy to pick up, easy to deal with. I'm going to keep that sucker. Just give you a look at the bottom in case you're curious. But again, I see nothing to help indicate who made this thing. So if anybody out there has one of these and it's a Wilton, I'd be curious if yours looks identical to this. Alright, I guess we're going to call this video a wrap right here. If you are not already a subscriber, please consider subscribing. If you like this video, please hit the like button and consider sharing it. Thanks for watching.